Since the profitable government-owned electricity utility Western Power was split four ways in the pursuit of greater market competition, West Australians have been left to pick up the mounting bill. Household electricity prices have rocketed by 57% since Colin Barnett came to power, a rise he blames on the cost of the breakup and the tariff freeze implemented by the previous Labor governments. After ruling it out in 2009, the same government is now considering putting the power puzzle back together by merging the power generator Verve and the power retailer Synergy. But is it an elaborate political smokescreen designed to give the state government a way to duck the flak from voters already angry over their skyrocketing power bills? In a moment, the Energy Minister, but first, this report from Charlotte Hamlin.
Learning about electricity might be child's play, but the state of the energy sector in Western Australia has even the experts scratching their heads. Over the past 17 years, a series of reforms have been implemented in an attempt to shore up supplies, create competition in the market and keep bills reasonable. So, let's break it down. In 1995, then Energy Minister Colin Barnett split the State Energy Commission of WA into two companies, Western Power and Alinta Gas. 7 years later, the Labor Premier Jeff Gallop gave the go-ahead for deregulation of WA's electricity market, including the breakup of Western Power. In 2006, Western Power split into four separate utilities, becoming Western Power, Verve, Synergy and Horizon. Then in 2008, Premier Colin Barnett first flagged the idea of re-merging Verve and Synergy, implying the 2006 breakup had failed and suggesting combining the companies could relieve some of the pressure on domestic power bills. More recently, the government's been working towards a new synthesis, taking the old model of a government-run baseload power system, working along with private power generators to provide competition. But 4 years on, there's no clear direction.
That initiative has been carried forward, but in recent months there's been little work done on it, and the proposed remerger of Verve and Synergy would actually run counter to the direction of that strategic energy initiative. So the government on these issues is being inconsistent, and that is feeding confusion and uncertainty into the private sector.
Here we are today, a year out from the next state election. The government's made no secret of the fact that power bills will go up. It's inevitable. It says for too long, energy in WA has been priced too low and householders aren't paying anywhere near what it actually costs to produce electricity. Once again, the government's raised the prospect of re-merging Verve and Synergy, sparking more criticism from industry groups who say there'll be no savings for consumers under that plan.
To re-merge Verve and Synergy would be going backwards. It would be throwing a massive spanner in the works.
These snippets of information being fed to the media about the future of the energy industry seem to be generating more heat than light on the matter.
To suggest that re-merging Verve and Synergy would put downward pressure on the increasing electricity prices in West Australia, well, the government has produced no evidence whatsoever that that would be the case.
In 2009, the government commissioned a report by the Energy Supply Association of Australia to help form a plan for the industry. In recent months, the association has been reviewing the government's progress and says it's concerned that things seem to have stalled. It says talk of a re-merger between Verve and Synergy is a backward step.
We're not sure why or how the government is flagging these decisions. But we're discouraged by talk that suggests we're going to retreat from the reform process that has been so important for Western Australia. We need to keep going. It's essential if we're going to make this transition to a smarter and cleaner energy market in the state as cheaply as possible.
The cost of utilities is set to be the #1 issue at the next state election. But if there's so much opposition to the proposal to merge the utilities, why does it keep coming up? The opposition says it's all part of a political gameplay by a government that doesn't know what the future holds for the industry.
And every expert in this industry is against re-merging Verve and Synergy. There's absolutely no question that Premier Barnett uses this as an excuse for doing nothing. It's an excuse for having no plan. It's an excuse for allowing chaos in the Minister's office.
It's frustrating the business community that the government is allowing continued speculation about the future of the structure of the energy market and the key utilities, Verve and Synergy, to continue. The West Australian private sector doesn't need this kind of uncertainty, and that's why we're calling on the government to explain exactly what its plans are for the energy sector.
Perhaps it's time we're all enlightened.